we are the Non-Prophets. We are Denis Loubet, Jeff D., and Russell Glasser. It is our destiny to come to you live from the Free Thought Library in Austin, Texas on the 7th of March, 2018. It is inevitable that the Atheist Community of Austin, a non-profit educational organization for the promotion of positive atheism and the separation of church and state, should sponsor this show at this singular point in history. Only if you are absolutely certain you want to learn more about the ACA, for once you do, there is no going back. You can call their voicemail at 512-220-6561 or visit their website at www.atheist-community.org. Fate itself has decreed that the Non-Prophets broadcast live every first and third Wednesday of each month from 7:30 to 9 Central Time. And you can be part of this inexorable future by following the directions at www.nonprofitsradio.com and joining the chat room. So sit back and brace your very essence for the revelation you are about to receive.
My essence is always braced.
Hi, everybody.
My secret.
You know, it just occurred to me.
Yes.
We've been doing the show since we restarted the Non-Prophets. We've been at it for 3 years, 4 years. How long has it been? It's been
Several.
Several years.
Many.
I have never once heard that we've received a voicemail. Never once. Control room? Is anybody like listening to the voicemail in case, all right, well, that's a question for Mark for next time. In case anybody has ever tried to reach us.
Call their voicemail.
I feel like once
What
in a
happens?
while.
We're
What do you
sorry,
do?
the Non-Prophets can't come to the phone right now.
I feel like
Or
once,
like ever.
I feel like once in a while in a board meeting, the person who checks the voicemail will say, like every few months, "Oh, hey, we got a voicemail. I put it in a audio file and emailed it to everybody," and I never actually listened to them. I just realized.
So of the three of us who might have knowledge of voicemails meant for the Non-Prophets, you just don't.
I mean, I might,
even listen.
but also that's the general ACA voicemail, so it's not like they're mostly for us. I think.
Right. All right. Well, I'm just going to take this moment to advise people not to waste their time
Probably not.
sending voicemails
If you-
meant for the Non-Prophets.
Yeah. Hey, the early 2000s called. They want their
Want their
voicemails.
voicemail back.
Yeah. We've received a wax cylinder for the Non-Prophets. Somebody sent
Hello,
this cuneiform
Watson.
tablet.
I need you.
Ay, ay, ay. All right.
I
So,
have no idea what that guy's accent sounded
No.
like.
which guy on the?
The guy, it's probably not even the same guy who sent a wax cylinder and who said, "Watson, I need you." That was Alexander Graham Bell.
Strangely,
And was he
sounds-
British? I don't know.
I
He
don't
sounds
know.
exactly like Pope Francis. I can do that if you want. Come here, Watson. I need you. Isn't that how it goes?
Getting
kind
all
of
the accents
disturbing,
out of the way.
actually.
By the way, I want to mention, I want to just thank Jamie Boone for filling in for me last week.
Yes.
I listened.
That was entertaining.
Apparently, I screwed him over by sending over one shit internet apologist say that I had already read.
No.
So, nice recovery, guys. But I'm a little resentful. Jamie got to be the first to try out this new button.
Dun, dun, dun.
Stole my thunder, man.
And it only works on the microphone and for your chair.
Is that true?
Yes. So
Okay.
if I press it down, you won't hear me echoing. You'll just continue to hear Russell echoing if he speaks.
Yep.
And we can get echoes of those
Wait.
those rattling sounds coming out of your adjustment.
Dun, dun, dun.
What? No,
You're
I
right.
can't. Yeah.
Yep.
I was pushing that button. Nothing happened.
So
Wow, I feel special.
You are special.
Jamie is.
Let me start.
What makes
with just
Russell
this
special?
Our friends at the Freedom from Religion Foundation send me. I am one of the people who gets their like regular announcement emails, and I get them from there, from Dawkins, from all of these different organizations, American Atheists, right? And they go into my folder of listener mail, but I think that I've very rarely actually read one because we only do the show once every 2 weeks, and it's
Right.
If the timing is not good, whatever they had to announce is long past. So, but I got this one today. Freedom from Religion Foundation writes, once again, the Johnson administration is under attack from the religious right, and we need your help. Please tell Congress to protect this vital guard between church and state. The Johnson Amendment is the federal law that keeps all 501c3s, including churches, from endorsing political candidates. If the amendment were overturned, churches would be able to politic from the pulpit while retaining tax exemption and become unregulated super PACs. This would create a new category of dark money because churches are financial black holes and are not required to report annual financial returns to the IRS. The religious right is launching a new effort to destroy the Johnson Amendment with the 2018 midterm elections on the horizon. The Washington Post reports that members of Congress held hostage to the religious right are attempting to slip in a new provision to repeal the Johnson Amendment in an appropriations bill that must pass before the end of this month. Let Congress know that this attack on church-state separation will not go unnoticed or uncontested. Now, they have either it's their web. I didn't look too deeply, but either it's their webpage or they've linked to somebody else's webpage where there's like one of those forms to fill out to send, your message, your vote
Right.
to people. And unfortunately, it is a string of gobbledygook, which I will now proceed to read. If you would like to go to this website, my advice is pause your audio that you're listening to now if you're not listening live. Or if you're listening live, go grab your pen and pencil right now. And I'm going to go ahead and listen. And if you miss it now, just go back and re-listen to the recording. http://p2a.co/4w30zsi. Some of those are capital letters. I can't imagine that really matters, though.
Hope not.
I will try to remember to post the damn thing in our Facebook group.
Okay.
In the Facebook, the fan group.
Probably if you Google FFRF Johnson, it'll be somewhere in the first few links. So
Yeah.
try that too.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Likely.
Thank you, Freedom from Religion Foundation. Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I do want to mention I'm planning to road trip to the American Atheist Convention next month. Actually, in a few weeks in Oklahoma City. And not just me, we're bringing a whole bunch of people from the Atheist Experience. We're going to do a live show there shortly before Hugh Laurie goes on stage.
Cool.
And we've got a GoFundMe because we're not just funding it through the ACA, and we're not having everything fully covered by the convention. So look on, I guess, the NonProphets official discussion group. I don't know. Am I piggybacking too much?
It's on the NonProphets official discussion group. And yet Dennis and I were not approached about this at all.
You want to come?
Well, I mean, I don't know, because if I had been approached with some advance notice, I could have checked my calendar and know whether that was even possible. You're welcome to advertise your Atheist Experience travel event, I suppose, on the NonProphets fan group.
Put it on the
if you must. But I think it would be best if maybe the NonProphets were included in a Atheist Community of Austin trip to a Atheist convention for the shows.
Yeah. kind of got thrown together at the last minute. But well,
So what
check
is
the
official
Atheist Experience official discussion group for this link.
and,
I see
and
how
is there
it
an
is.
address to the official discussion group?
What?
Is there an address for the official discussion group?
You just go to Facebook and look for Atheist Experience official discussion group.
Oh, okay, well that'll do it.
So I see how it is. Well, let us know if whatever mysterious powers put this together decide that we get to be we get to be included or invited.
I'll
Okay. Yes.
talk it over. Yeah. And
Oh, we got to give you a hard time. That's
I'll
the
get
meat of the
back to
show,
you.
man.
Yeah.
That's what makes the show worth listening to. It's us yelling at each other.
Don't call me, I'll call you. I'll have my people talk to my people.
Alrighty. Was
well,
that your item, or do you
that
want
wasn't
to
news, but I mean,
It was.
you
It was
said
news
you
to
were-
us.
Oh man. Kim Comer on the Facebook group wanted us to know that there's a Michigan town where only Christians are allowed to buy houses, according to The Guardian.
Wow.
I think we may have done this news story.
Oh.
Seems awfully familiar. Maybe
I don't know, man.
It's all right. Do it again.
What? Yeah.
Posted
What the hell is it?
February 9th.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been out for a while. But anyway, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead. I don't know
I
what we
hadn't heard
said.
this one
You already
before.
discussed it.
Maybe we'll say something new. I don't know.
Tucked away in Michigan's Lower Peninsula, somewhere along the winding roads that hug Great Lakes shores, is an idyllic town named Bayview. For more than a century, generations of Bay viewers have congregated here to share in summer activities. What started out as a modest camping ground for Methodist families 140 years ago has quietly developed into a stunning vacation spot for people who can afford the upkeep of a second home. But this paradise is not open to all. In Bayview, only practicing Christians are allowed to buy homes or even inherit them. Prospective homeowners, according to a bylaw introduced in 1947 and strengthened in 1986, are required to produce evidence of their faith.
Wow.
Wait,
I thought
pausing mid
why don't they
there.
What the fuck
why don't
is that?
Why don't the realtors just have faith in their faith?
Yeah.
Then they wouldn't need evidence.
By providing, among other things, a letter from a Christian minister testifying to their active participation in a church.
Wow.
Huh.
I think we might have mentioned this story, but not.
that-
We certainly didn't go into it. In
Is that
this level of
legal?
detail.
So when they say evidence of their faith, it's not evidence of the thing their faith is about.
Right. No.
Hey, but if it's okay to not have evidence of the thing their faith is about, why should it be necessary to have evidence of the faith itself? It's all they've established. They've established that you don't need faith for shit, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you don't need evidence for shit. You can just take stuff on faith, and that's perfectly an okay way to operate. So why aren't they operating that way?
Correct.
Because they're inconsistent.
Last summer, a dozen current and former resident members filed a federal lawsuit against the town.
Yeah, one would think.
Is Bayview a religious community seeking to practice its own beliefs in peace, or as it has always desired, or is it, as the lawsuit claims, a community in clear violation of constitutional, civil, and religious rights, to say nothing of federal housing rights? Spoiler,
Yep.
that second one, I think.
I would think.
Early Bayview documents dating up until the beginning of the 20th century show that although the resort community has always had a Christian mission, the original membership requirements were being over 21 and of good moral character. The Christian-only clause was introduced together with a white-only clause. I am
Oh, wow.
shocked that those two things went together.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah.
Which the association eliminated after a decade.
You got
Clearly
religion in my
illegal.
racism.
You got your racism in my religion. You got your religion in my racism.
Two great tastes.
Mike Steinberg, the
As
legal
they say.
director of the American Civil Liberties Union of Michigan, believes that the lawsuit is an open and shut case.
Yeah, one would think. But this is a different America now. We'll see.
That's about it.
Okay. So that story was from early in February. We should keep an eye out for developments.
I hadn't heard that one. Yeah.
See if there are new developments since that was posted. Thank you, Kim.
While you do that, I'm going to read the next listener mail. Jim in Knoxville says, I'd like to hear your answer to the movement that's been saying that the reason we have school shootings is because we've taken God out of our schools. I have a lot of religious friends, relatives, and neighbors, and I hear this all the time. I wonder why other non-Christian countries don't have the same problem in their schools.
You just answered your own question.
Yeah, that's a damn good point. There is a law put forth in Florida to post "In God We Trust" on the walls of all their schools. I thought I just saw a news story that Florida Florida legislature had seemed to have passed some gun restrictions, and then they said, oh no, that was an accident and it didn't actually count. But then I've seen a follow-up story which said that no, they now have instituted some age limits or waiting periods or something.
No idea.
So, but none of that is, nowhere have I heard they've rescinded the in God We Trust in the walls of their schools. And you know that folks like the Freedom from Religion Foundation are going to be all over that, like things that are on other things.
I have a tough time getting my head around the claim that God isn't allowed in schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you take an omnipresent thing out of anything?
Yeah.
Right.
Is God like Swiss cheese where there's like holes in them?
Yeah.
He's nigh omnipresent.
And how do mere mortals force any kind of movement on infinitely powerful things?
Well, apparently, and I'm going on like the logic of many games and stories about living gods. If God doesn't receive a constant supply of prayer, he runs out of energy that he needs to keep.
That's right.
He needs to maintain his manifestation in a certain place.
So now, does this mean that out in the middle of like the North Atlantic, where there's no one about, that God has no power? Because there's not people constantly praying for him out there?
If you're at sea, I mean, why do you think people would like pray to Poseidon or whatever? They would, the sailors will go out there and they'll pray.
But you said, according to this pop culture version of stuff, right?
Well,
that
to
if
be
the
fair,
God
I'm
doesn't
completely
constantly
bullshitting.
well, I'm following up, right?
Okay.
Let's take that thing, which is certainly a thing in literature, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily biblical,
The game
but,
Black and White.
But let's have fun
American
with it.
gods need a steady stream of prayer.
If that were the case, then
right.
all places where there are not people are places where he's not constantly getting praised and therefore has no power.
That's
That's how that would work.
That's true.
Biblically speaking, though,
Yeah.
just for fun, not that I give a flying rat's ass about
Yes.
what the Bible says, but how would Christians be able to account for God? The school shootings now can happen because we have taken God out of the schools. How does that work? Where's the path? Where's the logical path through the claims in the Bible?
And I'm
the logical path would be we passed a law and God respects those.
Yes.
So what you're saying is
He respects the law more than he.
we already have a law
cares
saying
about
you're not allowed
saving
to
lives.
shoot people.
Yeah.
We already have a law that puts some legal burden on people who see crimes about to be committed and do nothing. Why isn't he respecting those laws?
I don't know.
Well, he does respect the laws, but he can't break a law to enforce a law. He's like a paladin, you see. He wants to defend truth and justice, but if it's against the law for him to carry out his duties, then he'll. I mean, he's lawful good. If he were neutral good, then he'd just step in and save people.
But if he were, if you're lawful good, you can, in fact, if you're in a predicament between two laws, right? You can break one incidentally while following the other and explain it to the judge. Look, this is what and our legal system has room for taking that into consideration.
Yeah. You can Jack Bauer the situation.
But the problem is he's not the God is not in a predicament because we didn't pass a law to keep God out of school.
But we passed a law saying schools can't organize prayers for kids.
But that's not a law that takes God out of the school.
No, it's not.
There's no why. Now you're saying Christianity depends on this pop culture version of deities where if they don't get prayed for, then they are driven away by the lack of the prayer or weakened.
They're weakened,
But the thing is the children can pray as much as they want.
Which is not exactly what Christians say and leads to other logic problems like
it has its problems.
Where is he everywhere where people are not? Right? That would mean God cannot exist throughout the universe. He can only exist in those portions of the universe where there are sentient beings that are offering him worship.
How the hell did he create all those stars? I mean, there must be gigantic living beings praying to him all the time over there, too.
There have to be equally omnipresent, eternal praying beings. Now, where do those come in? Because I don't remember reading about those.
No.
Well,
are those angels? Maybe could they pull a
giants walk the earth? I don't know.
They're like gas-powered prayer generators, sort of, or
you're not.
That sort of
I
thing.
sense that you're not taking this seriously.
What? I am offended by that accusation, sir.
Well, our answer to the movement that's saying the reason we have school shootings is because we've taken God out of the schools. What's our answer?
What a pile of shit.
What do we say to this?
We haven't.
No, you are mistaken. That is not why.
And he answers his own question. He says, gee, what about the other countries that don't have God in school and don't have
what about the fact that that societal health, factors of societal health have been found to track in inverse proportion to the religiosity of a region? Mm-hmm. That would show that they are in fact, they would show that they were in fact wrong.
Of course.
That it would be way worse if we let religion in.
Many ways to show that they're wrong, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim in Knoxville.
Amongst the many ways to show that they are wrong are such diverse elements as...
I don't know that anything that we said will be useful to you in engaging with your neighbors. Yeah. But, of course, here's the easy, cheap shot version, right?
Yeah.
There have been shootings in churches.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Another good point.
Did they take God out of church?
They were the wrong churches.
No, must be.
Really?
Must be the wrong churches. Not
really?
Real Christians.
Really? If that's the response you get from your neighbors, if they say, "Oh, those churches where they had shootings, right? Those are the wrong shooting. Those are the wrong type of Christianity." Say, okay, then. So you are committing that if there's ever a shooting in a church of your denomination anywhere, you will leave that denomination.
Because it's not the right one.
Because it's not the right one. Over time, there will be no Christians anywhere. Because there will be no churches left where shootings haven't occurred.
Yeah.
Over time.
If it
It might take a few centuries for all of them to be covered by random chance, but...
Yeah.
If only it weren't for that pesky confirmation bias, people would have shut down their own churches a long time ago.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah. Thanks. A couple of weeks ago, in my absence, you guys discussed the demise of the Reverend Billy Graham. You weren't very nice to him.
No.
Well, really?
Not as I recall. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just stating
He
a
wasn't
fact.
very nice to us.
So it's been a couple of weeks for his death to sink in, and so cue up the PR machine.
Uh-oh. What now?
And this is reported in Fox News, and thank you for contributing the story, Justin Looney on Facebook. Thousands have signed an online petition calling for a national holiday in honor of Reverend Billy Graham.
Oh, for...
Yeah, they're going to call it Imbeciles Day.
Yeah.
The Change.org petition, which started 6 days ago by user Kyle Seiler, had more than 60,000 signatures as of Monday morning and is addressed to President Donald Trump, as well as Senators Tom Tillis, Richard Burr, and Jerry Tillman. The petition highlighted Graham's impact on people all over the world. Remember, this is a Fox News story.
Of course.
Let's get a national holiday for Billy Graham. Mr. Graham preached the gospel to more people in live audiences than anyone else in history. Nearly 215 million people.
I don't know, Marty. If you start having these holidays for all these religious nut jobs, pretty soon, every day's going to be a holiday, Marty.
Oh, geez. Oh, God. There's too many holidays.
I'm sorry. That's just the voice you chose. That was me off.
That wasn't what I was going for,
But that's great. Every day is a holiday.
The problem is we can never actually do improv comedy because every time we start to, we get all meta and start talking about how we're doing it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
God.
the guys.
Billy Graham.
You're not trying to fool anybody.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess keep an eye on that. I mean, it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that would actually happen under a normal presidency.
Under a normal administration.
Now, how do national holidays happen? What is the process to make one? What's necessary?
The historical process outlined in the Constitution is that the president tweets, "Now there's a holiday."
No, seriously.
How does something become a holiday? How do we have a Martin Luther King Day?
I feel like an act of
Well,
Congress.
it's more
usually-
than just a day. It's a holiday.
Yeah.
Hey,
Right.
How do you manage that?
I mean, a federal holiday. I
And there's-
assume
There are
Congress
some
has
holidays
federal
that aren't
holidays.
necessarily federal holidays. Yeah.
Sure. Well, yes. Anybody can just say, we're going to have a holiday on this day. This is, by the way, if I have my facts correct, or rather, if Google has its facts correct, today is International Women's Day,
All right.
according to the Google Doodle. But that's not a officially recognized federal holiday.
Right.
Could sure make a much better one than what's his name?
Billy Graham.
Teddy Graham.
Billy.
Teddy Graham.
Teddy Graham.
Graham cracker. Yeah, whatever.
King Graham.
Okay, so nobody knows, actually. Okay, nobody here knows.
No.
Not right now.
Remember that point, because that's going to come up again
Yep.
in one of these
And
letters.
of course, we can
But there's
always
things we
look
don't
it
know.
up, but just sitting there Googling things does not make
We'll leave that as an
Dear.
exercise for our listeners.
Yeah.
Find out how, in fact, the United States institutes federal holidays. Okay. Wow. Okay. He's still dead, though, right?
He, as far as I know, so far he has not. He is not
Good.
risen. Good
So
news.
is he the 900 for Jesus guy, or was that a different one?
I can't recall.
There have been so many of these lunatics that I can't keep their individual crazy statements. I mean, they're individual, not rational statements.
He seems to have been beloved, or at least his
That's not
PR
what I'm asking.
was good enough
So-
that like Obama sucked up to him and stuff.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah,
it? We have nothing more on that?
In 2010, there's this picture of them being all chummy.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, but yeah, I can't. I'll be making a political statement if I say anything more about that. Let's move on. He's still dead though, right?
Still dead.
Okay, good. Tyler in St. Louis writes, last episode, the topic of hypocrisy came up.
Again?
Really, Tyler?
Wait a
Last
minute.
episode?
Wait a minute.
Just last episode?
Hang on. I really want to time box this discussion because if we kick off into another 30-minute discussion about hypocrisy.
No, actually,
No.
he
Just keeps
he
the
does
vicious
legitimately.
cycle going.
Tyler does legitimately take this in a different direction.
All right.
And,
But it's
the
now
7 or 8
8:01.
The 7 or 8 hypocrisy emails we got that were just treading old ground, I didn't bring.
Okay, but either way, I don't want to spend a whole bunch more time discussing hypocrisy
Right.
if we can.
Oh, really?
Go for it, though.
Tyler in St. Louis writes, the hypocrisy thing. The point was made that it is counterproductive to point out when a theist behavior does not match their holy book's instructions. To be specific, it was suggested that maybe we should be. It's not our business to insist that they follow their own holy book's rules, because that's not our job, and that in fact a lot of times we should prefer for them not to follow the instruction of their holy book. Tyler goes on, I myself have done this in the past, not to point out hypocrisy, but rather in response to a common Christian claim that our morals come from the Christian God. I would point out examples of abhorrent behavior commanded by an omnipotent protagonist or by God, an important protagonist or by God himself in the Bible, which I know the Christian I am speaking to disagrees with. When I have brought up these points in the past, the person I'm talking to seems unsure how to respond and is often in disbelief that something like that could even be in the Bible. After learning this, they try to distance themselves from it and tell me why it is not relevant or why it means something else. Still, I feel that deep down, this forces them to face the fact that our morality could not possibly come from their God. Yeah, they got an even easy out if they're liberal Christians, because those guys they're not inerrantists, and so they're totally okay with that. With literal Bible believing Christians,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? I mean,
Pointing out an obvious contradiction is one of the most fun things to do in an argument with anybody, especially if it makes the arguer who was defending something uncomfortable with what they themselves were just saying.
So I think Tyler doesn't spell this out, but I think where he's going is you can use this kind of incident of apparent hypocrisy to threaten to pin the hypocrisy on the Christian, right? In an effort to wake them up to what's wrong with their religion.
Right.
And I'll tell you, in my experience, Tyler, the liberal Christians will wave it off, saying that's fine. There's things in the Bible that I don't agree with. It was written, by primitive people, and I don't think that everything they said was good. But the inerrantists will either insist that it's not hypocritical somehow,
It's out
or
of
was okay.
context.
They will do everything possible to avoid the implications. So either you get Christians who don't care, or Christians who will not accept it. It's very rare that a thing like this actually has an effect.
Well, of course,
Doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
Of course, it's very rare, but you're arguing that you shouldn't bother using a tactic if it doesn't work.
I'm not
all
arguing.
the time.
I'm not arguing. Did I say that?
No.
In fact, my last sentence before you commented was, "Doesn't mean you shouldn't try."
Right.
Okay. Just don't get your hopes up because it's really hard to dislodge these people.
Never get your hopes up about dislodging these people, but as tactics go, that is a relatively effective one in the grand scheme of things that actually work.
Yep.
Okay. All right. There's the last little thing from him, but basically restates what we just said. Sure, worth a try.
Yeah.
But, this cult has
Don't
not
hold your
existed for
breath.
this many thousands of years without having some pretty ready tools for resisting that kind of insight.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. There's a shortage of it feels like a shortage of hard news in this week's submissions, but let's see. A Florida state senator said that thoughts and prayers will stop mass shooting evil. And that's just what they say all the time.
Yep.
A Florida state senator said that thoughts and prayers are the only thing that will stop mass shootings before the legislature voted down part of a bill to ban assault weapons in the wake of last month's mass shooting at a Florida high school. And by the way, this was submitted on Twitter, #NonProphetsNews, WBFY2 is the tweeter's name. Handle. What?
Wow. It's the only thing.
Apparently.
The only thing. Not...
Okay.
Yeah, no laws will help. Nothing like that.
It makes you wonder why we even have jails.
So this guy knows that there were no thoughts and prayers directed toward any of the schools that have had shootings, or any of the institutions that have had shootings. That
apparently
from people hoping that those shootings would not occur. That's never happened for any of these places.
For a group
how does he know
people
this?
She, I think.
How does she know this?
For a group of people who claim to be about law and order, this is a real defeatist attitude.
Yeah.
And again, church shootings.
Yes.
Ma'am.
And
church
we have to assume
shootings. These were churches where they weren't having any thoughts or well, I agree. I'm with you on thoughts. I'm with you that not many thoughts were taking place in a church.
And there must be a metric buttload of thoughts and prayers going to all the schools in Australia, Japan. It's like somehow those don't suffer any school shootings. They must be getting prayed. They must be praying their asses off.
You know where else they don't have a lot of school shootings? Out in the middle of the North Atlantic, yes, where I believe we have established that God cannot exist because there's nobody out there praying for him.
Well, everybody knows that the Shinto gods are real powerful.
Right.
Yes. They're just better at stopping school shootings.
Ancestors will make sure that...
Wow. Okay, so this lady said something ridiculous. What else?
Yeah, that was Republican State Senator Kelly Starkle.
Brain-dead politician.
During a debate about gun control.
Debate?
Yes, she said.
Okay, my debate point is magic is the only way to do this thing.
Right.
Only magic can make this not happen.
When we say thoughts and prayers, it's frowned upon. And I take real offense at that because thoughts and prayers are really the only thing that's going to stop the evil from within the individual who is taking up their arms to do this kind of a massacre.
Oh, good grief.
It's not the weapon, it's the evil from within. If I thought for one moment that if we banned assault weapons, then all these tragedies would end, you would have me, I would be with you.
It's possible. Now let's give her the benefit of the doubt for a moment. So, how many of the various shooters and bomb droppers and other jerks we've had in this country? How many of you think might have stopped if people had come up and started praying to them?
Yeah. I'm thinking
Like,
zero.
well, this is pretty good. I could get used to this.
Right.
Yeah, of course, you have to identify them first, but still. Yeah,
So
it's
she
pretty
didn't
crazy.
mention who to pray to.
Yeah, I just have to assume
That's
that
right.
they think that Australians and Japanese people are just, inherently ethically superior to Americans.
Well, or they have better
I
gods.
guess. Or they have better gods, I suppose. Yeah.
Or maybe more easygoing gods, because
Yep.
well, it depends on whether the gods are empowered by the prayers or whether they're petty and don't help people because they don't get prayers. Which I feel like there's a case to be made for both, where the Christian God is
Yeah, it
concerned.
depends on the formulation of the belief of the particular believer, right?
Yeah, I like how the students aren't buying this whole nonsense.
No, they are not.
So I just had a brilliant idea.
Oh, no.
Taking two travesties that we've discussed on the show so far today, and using them to kind of solve each other.
Okay. Go for it.
So my idea is, that voicemail number?
Yeah.
Those people who are fans of this show, who are upset by the failure of the organization to invite the nonprofits team to go to be involved in this project to raise money to go to an atheist convention, right?
Yeah.
Voicemail to that number. Right, we give it to you at the start of every show. Express your displeasure at the
Wait a minute.
the way that the nonprofits team is treated compared to the team that runs the Atheist Experience. See, brilliant, problem solved. That voicemail will get used now.
Thoughts and prayers.
Okay, next letter. Doug says, huh?
Next letter.
Next letter. Doug says, at the end of the last show, Jamie attempted to explain away flat Earth claims by using incorrect scientific reasoning.
Oh, yeah.
And I was cringing. Oh, yeah. He said the sun can be seen below the horizon because gravity bends light.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Yeah, and we were in the middle of an ongoing conversation, and I knew
Atmosphere
that
bends
was
light.
not that was not the correct explanation of that for that point. But we let it slide. We sometimes do that on this show because we're not perfect and we don't have infinite time and we don't plan all of this in advance, right?
Or any of it.
It's
really.
stream of consciousness.
I hate to break it to people, but when you are just trying to say a lot of things off the cuff and not have dead air, sometimes you say things wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard to fact check everything that's being said.
But thank you for the correction, because we wouldn't
true.
want
It
to
is-
continue misleading people about science, and
It
I'm
is-
sure if Jamie were here, he'd say the same.
Atmospheric refraction causes.
Right. In that case, it's not it's not false that gravity can affect light like that, though it's not
But not
actually the
much.
photons that it's affecting. It's
Space-time
that it's affecting.
itself.
And light follows that. But that's not the explanation for seeing the sun a little early, apparently, over the horizon. That
The
is
curvature of
refraction.
light due to the Earth's gravity is really tiny.
Minuscule. Yes.
Right. Okay. Russell?
Uh-oh. I was so caught up in that story.
Oh, no.
Just quick, grab a tab. Male escort exposes 36 gay priests. I wasn't going to read this because I don't care.
Wow.
I guess
do.
it depends how they
They do. They care.
It's the hypocrisy thing again. Here we go.
I guess.
Yeah. And I don't mind it.
They can be gay. A 1,200-page dossier containing the names of 34 actively gay priests and 6 seminarians in Italy has been sent to the Vatican by the Archdiocese of Naples. Is this a blackmail thing? The allegations were compiled by... This was
Allegations.
tweeted at me,
Yeah, this is horrible.
I think twice. Once
Poor
by
guys.
somebody who's... Yeah. Once by Dan Donuts. I don't want to read the other guy's handle. 1200. Let's see. The allegations were compiled by Francesco Mangiacapra, a gay male escort who told local media he couldn't put up with the priest's hypocrisy any longer.
How about not putting up with their hatred of the LGBTQ community? How about that? Isn't that kind of the thing? So this, I'm just on this hypocrisy thing again. It's what bothers me is that it's the hypocrisy that this guy states as the target. Which is not the thing. The problem is going out there and telling everybody that there's something wrong with certain sexual orientations and genders, right? That there's something wrong with that. There isn't anything wrong with it. That's what is wrong with it. Throwing hypocrisy on top of, first of all, that what they're actually saying that is wrong and evil should be the focus.
Right. Sure.
And then hypocrisy is thrown on top of that not as if that made it worse, but as if that was the point.
Thing that was, yeah.
It's sort of like I'm troubled by hate crimes legislation. I'm not against it exactly, right? Because I understand the functional point of why we have additional penalties if a thing was a hate crime. But that's what hypocrisy seems to kind of be used for is it's additional. It's as if the crime itself was not going to anger people, and you have to misdirect them onto hypocrisy or onto the fact that it was hate instead of, wow, this guy murdered a guy.
Right.
And he did it because of the guy's skin color. We really. At first,
I don't think it's completely misdirection when that happens. Although I'm with you on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I know, and I'm not against throwing hypocrisy on the pile.
Right.
I'm not against throwing hate crimes on the pile. I guess, right? But certainly not as if that was the main thing. That takes over and is actually itself worse than what the crime was,
right? Or
the hate speech in this case.
Well, in this case, what they did wasn't even illegal. I mean, in fact, this guy sharing their personal stuff.
No, that's not. I'm talking.
Right.
He didn't like their hypocrisy.
Yeah.
What's the hypocrisy? They're going out there after having had sex with him, which is fine. They're going out and preaching that
it's bad.
Being gay is bad, right? That's the hypocrisy, but it's claiming that being gay is bad is the problem. That's the thing they're doing that's so horrific.
Right.
Fine. Throw hypocrisy on top of it. Don't forget what it was they were actually up to that was the bad thing. And it's not having gay sex.
Right. I don't know. That's enough of that one, I guess.
Tick me off.
But I mean, I'm loath to stir up the hate crimes discussion, but one of the things that is complicated to think about in society is sort of like the difference between abstract math and science, where in math it's it's proofs and rigorous structure that matter. But then when you run into real world situations, you just do the best you can, which is why you got to go with experiments and statistical trials.
Right.
And I think similarly, there's on the one hand, high concept moral principles, and on the other hand, laws that try to deal with the real world as it really is. And I mean, I feel like hate crimes exist because if a whole lot of people are murdering gay guys, it not only is the crime of murder, but it also in a small way makes it more socially acceptable or expected. It's like, oh, it's just another dead gay guy. That happens all the time.
Oh wow! Can I disagree with the way you formulated that?
Okay.
I think the level on which I'm okay with hate crimes legislation is that it sends the additional message that on top of killing people, being bad, which we've already got the laws for, right? Being a bigoted jerk is itself bad, so we're going to throw that in on top. I would kind of be more happy, though, if we simply criminalized being a bigoted jerk. If there was a way to do that within our legal system, and I know that's problematic, right? So what we do is we tack it on as an extra thing when that technically freedom of
and another
thought
2
thing,
years for being a bigoted jerk.
Right? When we don't criminalize just being just having horrible thoughts like that, because that's thought crimes, right?
But see,
but if you act on it, we make it worse. I can kind of get behind it there. I don't think that it's about the way you said it was that
This is, by the way, the thing we'll now get emails about for the next 3 shows.
Does it draw a parallel to Black Lives Matter?
Does what draw a parallel to that?
Hate crime legislation. I mean, it's
in what sense?
Well,
are we criminalizing being a member of being a supporter of Black Lives Matter?
No.
What are you talking about?
What?
I'm trying to get a grasp of how you're comparing.
Okay, would the logic behind hate crime legislation, is it the same as the logic behind Black Lives Matter?
If you mean in the sense that here is a thing that is particularly a problem right now, and we need to, it's a good idea to take some additional steps, put some additional emphasis on it because it is the thing that is a problem right now. Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
I mean, the movement, I think they would say, is about, hey, there happens to be disproportionately many police.
It is in many ways like atheism.
Yeah.
We would all be thrilled if religion went the hell away and we could all go home and live our lives.
Atheism in itself is not that interesting. I will admit.
There's nothing to it, right? Except we don't believe that particular piece of shit.
But it's very interesting in the context of a society that believes all this wacky shit.
Steeped in it, yes.
Right.
Yep.
So... okay. Was that a news story we just did?
That was a news story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Kurt writes, if someone claims to have credible evidence of God, aren't they in a way admitting they have no faith? Well, yeah.
That's what I've always thought.
This comes up all the time. And I like how this dovetails with the earlier news item about the resort community of Bayview.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
The evidence for your faith.
Yeah. Because that's asking for evidence that somebody believes something. You know, in a world where Christians are going around always trying to pressure atheists into pretending to believe, at least, right, that it's okay to be an atheist as long as you don't talk about it. As long as you pretend to be part of our cult, right, then that's fine. We'll live and let live, right? In that world, they still have this stupid community which will accept, a written statement from the church that you attend that you believe X. Well, that people that run the place that you go to don't know if you actually believe that.
Right.
You could be an atheist just going along to get along.
You could have forged that letter. You could have written it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this
I wasn't actually going there because that's casting atheists in the role of people that lie about shit. So I guess I was too, right? Because I was having atheists, talking about atheists that go to church to pretend and fit in,
right.
Which is hypocrisy. But I think it's
you redirected
fine if it's necessary. Yes, go ahead. Go back to
what was the actual thing the guy wrote?
If someone claims to have credible evidence for God, aren't they, in a way, admitting they have no faith?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like those shows that, documentaries that show how all the miracles of the Bible could be explained by scientific,
Right.
things. The wind patterns are such that it cleared the Red Sea for them to walk across or something like that. And so you're left going, well, who's the audience for this show?
Yeah,
Can't be Christians because
I think
that removes the miracle.
Yeah,
you know?
I know. That looks
it's
really
insane.
weird when they do that. I think what's going on with them, with Christians at that point, is they're not concerned about the faith issue at that moment.
Right.
They are concerned about the danger of the Bible being seen as a load of crap.
Yeah, well, there's
All they care about is sure. Maybe the Red Sea parted because of, these wind currents and all that crap that they come up with, right?
Yeah.
They're not focusing on, is it a miracle at that moment? They're focusing on, don't you dare say that my beloved Bible is wrong and stupid.
Right. Well, they're desperate for scientific acceptance. They're so
they are
desperate
that
to give
too.
the appearance
They are that too.
that they're based in fact that they're willing to deny miracles.
When they're in a position where they think they can buy some time by demanding that science test their shit, then they'll do that. And when that has happened and the science rebuffs them, then they attack science.
Right.
Yeah,
it goes back and forth.
It's like, Shroud of Turin or people who say they found pieces of wood that came from Noah's Ark. They're really excited if they can say that a scientist checked this thing out and it turns out it's really old. But as soon as they say, actually, this, could not be older than the 10th century or whatever.
Right.
Then they're immediately back to, well, science doesn't know everything.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. They're just so desperate for that imprimatur of science.
Right. So, I mean, it's just being opportunist.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah.
Say whatever pops into their head that they think will buy them get some traction or buy them some time whenever the moment comes up. And it doesn't matter if it ultimately makes any sense.
And I think
because they're not about making sense, they're about winning.
Yeah.
I think the faith argument is always a last resort because I don't think I've ever opened a conversation saying, somebody says, have you heard the good news about Jesus? And I say, why would I believe that? And they don't just say, well, faith. They always start with the reasons. They always
try to give you some sort of reason and evidence.
And then you just got to have faith comes when they're out of other things.
Anybody ever try responding to a Christian who says, have you heard a good word about Jesus? Anybody ever tried to respond by saying, yeah, I have faith that he doesn't exist? Because what are they going to say? I have faith that he doesn't exist.
That comes from Satan.
Can they?
Gotta be.
Yeah, but they think faith is a good thing. How do they know their faith isn't coming from Satan?
Oh, now you're getting us.
I've gone down that road before. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I
agree, man. Postulate a father of lies and then postulate that they're immune. Wow.
Yeah. All I got to say now is that the best thing about having tech for this is that I don't need any preamble to say, shit, internet apologists say.
That was so smooth.
That
really was.
That was smooth. The capital smooth.
Our technicians are awesome.
They are.
I don't know if we mentioned that enough.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of things available this week, but when one falls in my lap, I always got to go with that one.
All right.
Sometimes
what do you got?
Letters get delivered to this building with the names of people on them.
Dun, dun.
And I think several people just received copies of this letter because I got one and Linnea got one, and they were both personally addressed.
Huh. Okay.
But sent to this building.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will not read his full name and address on the air, but I have them, and it's David from White Plains, New York.
Okay.
And this is a lovely letter written in 4 different colors, one for each paragraph. Like
on some awesome inkjet printer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in rainbow colors. Does this guy know that the rainbows equal gay?
Yeah. Dear Russell, how are you?
Oh, well, that's nice. He's concerned for your welfare.
Yeah, works a lot better in a conversation, though.
Yeah.
How are you?
I can't
I'm
really...
fine. Go ahead. Sorry.
Right. This is why I like to have these conversations live. And also, can I just say, it's a huge pet peeve of mine when somebody like in an argument says, please watch this 30-minute YouTube video.
Right.
Because it's like, while the YouTube video is playing, I can't talk to you or say the things I object to as they come up.
Yeah.
We don't know each other, but God knows both of us as well as everyone in the world, both living and dead.
Now, wait a minute. So, this is the God who, if you're not praying to him, he can't come around.
Right.
So, how does he know about you, Russell?
Are you secretly praying?
I come near the prayer energy of other people.
Now, see, if anybody that lives out in the middle of the North Atlantic, while they're there, God doesn't know crap about them unless they pray.
What stays in the what's done in the North Atlantic stays in the North Atlantic.
All right.
Well, let me explain how a mobile
Just
ad
try and-
hoc network works. we'll get technical about how God's prayer
Cool.
All right, go ahead. I'm just always interested in the the mechanics of how this works.
Yeah, right. God created you in his image and likeness, and he loves you dearly. By the way, I'm reading the orange section of the letter.
I've noticed that. You look exactly like God. It's really amazing.
Image and likeness.
Spitting image.
Image and likeness.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the and that I find so fascinating here, right? Because usually they'll say you're made in God's image, and you go, what? You mean like how can that be? Because we all look different, right?
Yeah.
And they say, oh, we just mean in, his spiritual image, right?
Oh.
You people all look alike to me.
No, you're not going to use it for that, are you?
Of course I am.
We've given him the power.
All right. Well, then,
Of course he'll use it.
damn it. Then I need one for Francis because
Yeah.
I need one that'll play the angelic, cloudy music in the
Yeah.
background so he can show up. But so when he says image and likeness,
Yeah.
he's saying it's two things. So one of them you can fob one of those off on spiritual
look,
appearance,
yeah.
right? But then what does the other one mean? Where are they going to hide?
Are we talking the
hide the
general
significance of that?
2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head general body layout? Or
Yeah.
are we talking about like
Or since this is just a letter written
Beady
specifically
eyes and nose.
to Russell and Linnea. Did Linnea get the exact same text?
I didn't read hers.
That's fundamentally important.
It's
we
a
need to
crime
know.
to tamper with other people's mail.
She wouldn't let you see it?
I didn't ask. I don't think she read
it is
it.
the
I
same-
can't believe if Manda and I each got a weird letter from the same
would
person.
compare them?
We would totally. The first thing we would do is compare them and see if it was the same thing.
right.
Right? Can this guy be bothered to write
And
2
then if
letters,
it
or
is-
did all he do is change the names? I think that is of fundamental importance, and it's important to interpreting for this segment of the show what he could possibly mean. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because if likeness means your appearance, he might have been trying to say that you look like God.
Right.
And he knows what God looks like, and it's Russell. Right? But not
But
if he sent the
only in
same
the
letter
same-
Well, no,
to you
that's-
and Linnea.
That's why you need Photoshop
unless
to
the guy,
bring the 2 images together, and then we'd have a better idea of what God looked like.
Unless he means, or if he means that God is the Greek God that had the faces on both sides of his head, right?
right.
I forget which one that is.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, God looks exactly like me, and
Now we know.
well, but he also looks exactly like you, and exactly
yeah,
like
no.
Donald Trump, and exactly like Nelson Mandela.
Okay. All right. So God's bald is what you're saying.
Wow.
And then that's just a cheap orange toupee that God's wearing.
He looks like Rachel Maddow, and he looks like
good grief.
No.
Yeah, no, sorry, not buying it. Go ahead.
God has a plan and a purpose for your life. We're still in the orange section.
Yeah,
For
okay,
those of you
sure.
keeping
Of course
track
we are, and that's
Yeah.
why we're talking about Trump. Go ahead.
And he wants you to be saved from burning forever in the lake of fire with Satan and his demons. Satan is not capitalized, just saying.
But God is?
Well, then God
yeah.
can simply not send me there.
That's
Thank you.
Interesting.
Actually, yes. Okay.
A little bit disrespectful, don't you think?
of
Satan.
I think that's okay in their religion. Just imagine
Who goes
that-
around like not capitalizing Adolf Hitler just to be a jerk? Who does that? Nobody does that. Go ahead.
Just imagine that, and I have to object to his choice here. The color shift happens after a comma.
Really?
Yeah,
It would have been
It's not a
better if what?
paragraph.
If it had been paragraphs?
Yeah, he could have found a better way to broker.
Or just a run-on sentence and in the middle it changes? You'd like that
Weird.
better?
What a comma. Good grief.
Let's critique.
Keep going.
Dennis and I are artists. I mean, if you
Yeah.
want us to critique the
We can critique
aesthetics
the
Hey,
design.
artist,
of the letter.
how's this letter look to you?
Oh, right. He just did it at the end of a line.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like
he's
how the
changing
paper
color at the end of
folds
the line.
after the first red
one,
line.
two, Yeah,
he should have. He
He
could
didn't
have.
fold the paper
There's
around
actually
the
five
color breaks.
colors involved.
It's aesthetically very poor choices. All right, go ahead.
There's actually 5 colors involved.
Some show going on.
The lighting is not great in here.
Yeah.
This next section is dark red or
Yeah.
Right.
brown.
Purple, whatever, yeah.
No,
Right, are you colorblind?
Slightly red-green colorblind, so I'm going to
Orange,
assume
red,
red.
purple, blue,
I-
green.
I see that as green. Just slightly, though. I mean, I can...
There could be yellow, but we'd barely be able to
The
see.
purple and blue are very close.
burning forever in the lake of fire. That was the beginning of red.
All right. Burning forever in the lake
With
of fire.
with Satan, again, not capitalized, and his demons, exclamation point. Forever, exclamation point. What an awful thought, exclamation point.
Yeah.
And yet I'm so gleeful about telling you about
Joyously tell us more hateful things.
it.
Yeah.
No, he didn't say that last part.
Oh,
But boy, is he enjoying the exclamation points on these sentences. And yet, sadly,
yeah.
Yes.
that is where all who reject God's offer of salvation will find themselves. I do
Isn't
not
it
want
just-
you to go there.
Is anybody else as astonished at me that that Christians can all say this exact same boilerplate, word for word,
Yeah.
that we have heard umpteen bazillion times with a straight face as if they're the first one?
Yes.
What the
Every
hell,
one
man?
of them. I don't understand. And so gleefully describe a protection racket like it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre.
I'm not even.
I know. You're not even
talking
addressing
about
the logic.
the
You're just
implications of
addressing
the content,
yeah,
just the
yeah.
fact. These words we have each heard these zillions of
Million times,
We're
yeah.
well aware of the claims of your religion. He could have dispensed with the entire first paragraph and just written, "I know you've heard all the claims of my religion." There, done.
You're done. Yeah.
And then move on. Go ahead. Sorry, you don't need my permission.
No. I mean, this is a discussion point. Do you think that Christians, and I think this is actually part of the propaganda, do you think they sincerely believe that the only reason you could still be an atheist is because you just haven't heard what they have to say yet?
I have
They
to
say
assume
so.
that's what they think. Yeah.
They
They do
say
say
so.
that, yeah.
So
And then they always seem very disappointed when it doesn't work. So I think maybe that is what they think.
They think we live in as much of a bubble as they do.
that's interesting. Yeah, that could be.
And they're just disappointed because, no, we don't. We've researched their crap.
Plus, I am sure that there are Bible verses that say they have not heard or they will not hear.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And not having encountered people like us,
Now,
or have they? I
It's
don't know.
possible that they think if they say it again with enough exclamation points
And enough colors.
that it will
Yes.
suddenly.
It-
Now I get it.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest.
Why
it was
didn't he
the fact
include
that all
like
the
a little mint in the envelope?
That'll do it.
Russell is checking the envelope now.
Well, he did not include a little mint, but he did include 1, 2, 3.
Oh, God, little
4,
pamphlets.
5 little pamphlets.
Oh my
Are
gosh.
any of them?
5, 6.
They're actually pamphlets. None of them is like
So-
an unscratched
pamphlets.
lottery ticket. Anything that has any actual
You know-
value that could be considered
Wait.
a sweetener on top of
Yeah, a Benjamin
on
would
top
be
of the
pretty
threat
nice.
of death. If you don't join my cult, then you're going to be tortured forever. Have a mint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he thinks the colored printing will
I think.
have some kind of effect. Did he
This
make any
is-
of these?
I don't. Well, maybe because okay. So these are all. I got to paint a word.
I think
picture here
Benjamin
'cause it's
Franklin
great
wants you
video.
to believe in God.
They're all very small tracts. They're not like the full Jack Chick comic books or anything. They're just like half a page, then folded in half. Some of them are glossy and some of them are not.
Weird,
You want to
man.
read a
I am
couple of
checking.
titles?
I am checking to see whether any of them are printed on the exact same paper as your letter, and that seems awfully close.
World's greatest
No,
detective.
this is printed in Canada, so that's not. And you
It
get
says
free.
printed
this
in
one
Canada, but
hasn't-
couldn't the PDF have said that?
this one it could, but no, because this one has. Free tracts and biblical counsel available by request. So this guy could have gotten these. Why would he bother printing them out at the high price of printer ink? these
Now,
days?
I mean,
We
he probably
know-
just
When he can
has
get 'em for
crates
free.
full of them delivered to his house.
That's right.
Now we know full well, looking at that letter,
yes.
that if that was a web page, it would be color cycling and there would be music.
It would definitely have animated GIFs.
Yes.
and more fonts. I'm afraid
more
this whole thing
Many more
is
fonts.
all in one
Different
font
sizes.
in one size. So
Yeah.
let's give him that much
credit. Okay.
Unfortunately, that is what's preventing me from accepting his religion right now.
That's right.
If-
If
Nice-
you just
nice
included a
try,
different font,
Brother David, but-
I think you could have gotten through to me.
I mean, this does not go above, I'm going to say, 14-point font, and I just don't feel like he cares enough.
No, and I need it in papyrus, man.
Comic Sans. It is, I'm
be in
sad to tell you,
papyrus.
everyone, that the letter is not in Comic Sans.
No, it's not.
Hattenschweiler or something. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
okay,
Keep
I got to
going,
give
keep
credit
going.
for
This
the
is
font.
awesome.
It is a very tasteful serifed font.
Yeah.
I have nothing to complain about with the font itself. Although the next paragraph has a shitload of italics. And they're all the same thing. Like he's emphasizing over and over again.
So
We're
you mean-
in the blue section
He's
now.
not
Okay.
done? Okay.
No, of course not.
I'm curious as to what caused you to become an atheist. No, you're not.
I never
Dude,
became an atheist.
so
I was
wait a minute.
always one.
If you were curious, you
How
would
do
have
we
called
think-
me instead of delivering this letter and then not being.
How does this
here.
dude know of your existence? If not from
Watching
watching,
a
the show
or listening to this show?
or listening to this show, right? Where you have described why you're an atheist umpteen times if he's been listening. And if you haven't, he's heard other people
Right.
here talk about it in great detail. Numerous
Obviously, he
voices.
thinks something bad happened.
Do you really think this all came from nothing?
Oh, good grief.
I do not need. I'm gonna emphasize the italics.
The italics?
To know you to understand you, and you do not need to know me to understand me. We are so different, and yet we are the same.
Oh, God.
In my life, I have laughed, and so have you. I have cried,
No,
and so
I
have you. I have suffered, and so have you. This all reminds me of like, I am
You got
an
the guy's
ordinary-
address, right?
Yes.
Do we want to put a letter together?
I'm not going to bother, but if you guys write it, I'll.
It should
I'll
have.
send
It should
back.
include like a CD of this episode.
Yes.
Sure.
And a mint.
But
Mint. Definitely a mint.
I gotta say that all this sentence structure about how he also cries and loves has very much a "how do you do, fellow kids" feeling to it.
Yes. Oh, first establish a parallel. First establish the grounds you can both agree on. Yeah.
Hello, I am a normal carbon-based biped,
Right.
exactly like yourself.
Precisely.
Let us go ingest fermented beverages and laugh as we do.
Oh man.
Now I gotta skim because we've been spending so much time on this. But
Yeah.
he's
But this is awesome. This is a good
Yeah,
one.
you don't
man.
catch us putting some
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of time limit on your segment, do you?
oh, well, if you want to, I will respect it. But
Okay. Well,
Okay.
that's fair.
so the things we have both done apparently include laughed, loved, been rejected, cried,
sure.
suffered,
Abused printer ink.
known joy. What?
Abused printer ink.
Abused
Unless,
fonts.
of course, we're psychopaths.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
No.
He didn't. He didn't abuse.
Abused italics.
Oh yeah, he did that.
And the list can continue endlessly from now until the never-ending eternity,
A never-ending eternity,
as opposed to the other.
as opposed to the ending eternities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You, whoever you are, and however bored or intrigued you may be with my words, must know that understanding one another is not a challenge. The human condition is the same for everyone.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Yeah,
dude.
I can imagine
is
how
not.
I could be really, really dumb. Yeah, I can imagine that.
We are all in this boat together, headed quickly to eternity. What's the hurry?
Yeah.
And now we're in the green final paragraph.
Right.
Okay.
Please read the gospel tracts enclosed in this envelope. I'm sure that they will touch your heart if you let them. I look forward to hearing back from you, but if I don't, I will understand because I wrote this same exact letter to
Yeah, and-
about 53 other people, and it's a numbers game.
I'm counting 7 tracts,
Seven tracks.
and that means 7 shit internet apologists say episodes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Seems to me.
You can stash them right here if
He
you want.
begged you. You really need to keep your face by your microphone.
Yeah.
We lost you there for a second when it fell down. He begged you to read them. I think.
Begged us, yeah.
I think.
And they're all about the right length. So
Touch your heart, though.
you want to read
You don't
some
know
of
where
those
these
titles?
pamphlets have been, and you don't want them touching your heart.
This is that's
It's not hygienic.
that's content gold.
All right. But I don't want to shortchange people who submit current topical shit internet apologists say, and I also don't want to read the same type of thing every week. So,
All
so
right.
but,
Well, pick
but
a
we'll
good
keep
one.
them in.
Maybe pick a good one.
We'll keep them in reserve. I promise.
Fair enough.
Keep in mind that one day you will stand before the God of the universe to give an account of the life you lived while on this earth.
Keep in mind.
Keep in mind.
Insert thing that that you have no reason to believe.
Yes.
Keep the thing that you have no reason to believe firmly in mind.
Right. That is also a threat.
In Christ, and it is signed Brother David, and not reading his
Brother
last
David.
name.
There's more than yeah, right.
Okay,
Wow.
Well,
Thank you, Brother David, for the entertainment
yes.
and more entertainment in the future.
Good value.
Okay, we got 10 minutes left, and I got one
Stash
more letter.
this on those shelves over there. I hope they will stick
Sure.
around.
David says, I hope it's not the same.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Don't think
but it's
so.
possible.
Yeah.
1, God/source is the superposition of all
Oh,
things.
boy. Right. I remember this one.
You read this one.
Oh, yeah.
2, the cosmos is a virtually produced by nature's quantum supercomputer. A virtuality. I'm sorry. It's a virtuality. Whatever that means. Produced by nature's quantum supercomputer. This consistent with Niels Bohr's quote that if QM is right, nothing is real. 3, our senses are attuned to this virtual display, thus accounting for our experiences.
Okay.
4, whatever produced this quantum computer is the programmer or programming origin of consciousness. So his question was, any comment on the following? Yes, the comment is, what drugs are you on, dude? Okay, first of all, I forget, which of us is the guy with the deep background in quantum physics? Is it you, Russell? No. Russell's saying no. Dennis, were you the one?
Not me. I didn't research.
You didn't,
that.
between doing your computer graphics and industrial design, you didn't get your degree in quantum physics?
They didn't do the quantum physics.
So first of all, don't be asking non-physicists, people who without a deep understanding of quantum physics, to comment on gobbledygook about quantum physics. Because, and I'm saying gobbledygook because it looks like that to me. But if I'm wrong, it'll be because I know nothing about quantum physics. It's not my field, right? Which means I can't comment, I can't say anything constructive about this, except for one thing, right? I happen to know quantum physicists are not more likely to believe in God than your average person. In fact, they are less likely. So when you throw out a thing that dives into quantum physics for a justification for a God, you're making a fool of yourself, because there are the evidence from people who actually study and understand these terms you're throwing around are not coming to the conclusion that therefore the God exists. That is not where quantum physics as a field is going. So that. Anything else need to be said about this?
Well, I actually exchanged a few emails with him.
Did you?
Yes.
So is this a thing he actually believes? Or thinks is seriously worth consideration?
No.
Oh, good. Thank you. I'm sorry about yelling at you, David.
It's weird.
Okay.
Let me see.
You've got your emails there on your...
Yeah, I said the superposition of all things is the superposition of all things. Giving it a name changes nothing.
I don't even know what that means, though.
I don't know that either.
Can all things as a class have a superposition? Or once you said it's all things, aren't all things in like the normal position that they are all in? I have no idea. Not a freaking physicist. Why ask me this stuff? Right. It just annoys me. I cannot tell you if that makes any sense. What I can tell you is that if you say these things to a physicist, they will tell you are full of it.
Yeah.
Because if they weren't going to tell you that, they would be believing in the God.
Right.
I don't really wish this guy on the physicists that I know.
Oh, I'm sure they get this. This is Deepak Chopra kind of bullcrap.
Yeah.
Right.
Here he writes, redefinitions are not a word game, because I wrote, no, redefinitions are a word game. Calling a toothbrush God does not increase understanding, right? And so he says, redefinitions are not a word game. Everything hinges on definitions, so improvements that are important. Why is Dillahunty always introducing definitions of God and faith into the conversation? Because they do matter.
No. Dude.
I know.
That's not using the definition that is in common parlance is not a word game. That's not redefining things. You can't argue that redefining things isn't a word game because definitions are important. That doesn't make any sense. Go ahead. Yeah. Sometimes you just want to reach through the microphone.
He writes and says, the whole point is to get away from bogus supernatural personal gods of the ridiculous fundamentalists, to simply keep saying that they are unjustified in their belief and couching one's whole repertoire along those lines. The fundamentalists are irrational, the Christians are silly and gullible, etc., offers very little to the conversation. So he's trying to get this more nuanced definition of God going, right?
Okay, but that's not your job, dude.
I know.
Look, if he's a theist, right, he can be a theist and he can believe in his invisible friend on whatever basis he wants, and he can show us what he's basing it on, like on the other show where they take callers, right? People are they're being asked that all the time. And then we'll give you a reaction. And here apparently is his, if he's a theist. If he's a theist and he's basing it on this, he's
sure.
full of it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not sure he's a theist.
Okay.
But he says there are three types of religion: fear-based, morality-based, and cosmos-based. And that's supposedly a quote by Albert Einstein. That's who he credits it to.
So, did Albert that's not
cares?
Einstein's field.
Right.
Einstein was not he's not a guy with a degree in theology.
Yeah, he says, when we get to the cosmos-based belief systems, objecting to fear-based ones is Mickey Mouse time. And
can I just mention that weirdos always like to categorize things in little rigid boxes, and that it could be all or
and
none
quote
of those.
Einstein.
Yeah.
Out of context and inappropriately.
And since
those things are not mutually exclusive, you can have a religion that has some elements of fear and some elements of cosmos or whatever.
And I responded with, well, which of the three is causing the most damage? That's the one we need to address.
Okay.
And he said, good point. There is the practical aspect of it all and the academic part. Later. So,
okay, but the thing is,
very
look,
weird,
dude.
I'm not
all right,
sure
David.
if he's
so
a theist or an atheist.
We don't know if you're okay. So we have to have two responses, right?
Yeah.
David, if you're an atheist, he's
trying to.
He's not an atheist who has been had this fed to him and has forwarded it on to us because he doesn't know how to respond. That's not what he is, right? He could be an atheist trying to hand a better definition or better justification for a God to the theists, in which case my response is, that is not your frickin' job, dude. It is the job of the believers to tell us what they think. And we look at it and we decide,
say yay or
decide whether that makes any sense. If what you are is a guy who wants to believe in some kind of God, then my first answer is the one for you, right? You don't know what you may know what you're talking about, but so do all of the actual working physicists, and they have not reached this conclusion.
Right.
The people who study quantum physics for a living have not reached the conclusion, therefore there's some kind of a God. And so that'd be like me if I found some field you guys don't know anything about, right? Basket weaving.
Yeah, I don't know
and
anything
then said,
about that.
oh, within basket weaving, there's this analogy, blah, 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 therefore God, right?
Right.
No. I mean,
sorry.
You cannot get here. No, I didn't. That's not a very good analogy I just wove there. I'm sorry. But, if... And basket weaving is a terrible example because I'm sure that has a lot of Christians doing it. Dude, don't. You're in Deepak Chopra territory, and he's an idiot. Okay. That just about brings us to the end of our show. Anything else anybody wants to throw? Just want to remind everyone again of that voicemail number, which is what, Dennis? The voicemail number for the show?
The voicemail, 512-220-6561.
Yeah, if you'd like to call and pressure the ACA into lumping the nonprofits into this special effort to send people to a convention, that would be awesome. I guess you can take us out.
All right. So, now you know. And life can never be the same. Will you use this knowledge for good or evil? Do those words even have any meaning anymore? Will you be back for our next episode in 2 weeks on the 21st of March? We can only act as eternity commands.